Hi everyone, I'm Scott Hoke. Welcome to Mecum Full Throttle. Today as we bring you highlights of our coverage of the Mecum Houston auction from the NRG Center. Nearly 1,000 vehicles crossed the block during the auction's three-day visit to Southeast Texas. And coming up the next hour, we'll bring you the very best moments from Mecum's first of two visits to the Lone Star State here in 2026. You can maybe already hear this 2018 Mustang Cobra Jet 50th anniversary car coming to the block here.
Only 68 were made. We are commemorating the anniversary of the original 1968 Cobra Jet Mustangs that were a sensation in drag racing. That was Ford's doomsday weapon, and boy, it won a lot of races. So they built this to celebrate the 50th anniversary.
$88,000, Paul got.
Okay, this one hammers at $88,000. Very cool. Oh, look at this.
Ooh.
Oh, be still my heart. Where to begin on this 59 Apache? Well, visually, the paint and the chrome grabs your attention, but let's take a look at that engine room. Something to behold.
8-stack downdraft intake on that fuel-injected 350. It is showtime. Ceramic-coated hooker headers. So much polishing, so much painting, and powder coating, refinishing. Oh dear, there's the interior. What can I say? All completely redone. 59 Apache pickup like you've never seen before.
Reserve is off.
Oh my goodness, the reserve is off. Oh, well, now I want to see if anybody else jumps in and we get a battle going.
Anybody else? Reserve is off. $87,000, $90,000 last call. Anybody else?
That tonneau cover, by the way, is flat as a pancake.
Yeah, huh?
That guy just got maybe the deal of the day.
That's next to charity, if you ask me.
And this spectacular 2025 Harley-Davidson CVO Road Glide RR.
Number 103 of 131 that were built just last year. Screaming Eagle, Milwaukee, 8 V-twin engine, 153 horsepower, a 6-speed gearbox, 250-watt infotainment system with a 12.3-inch color TFT display on a motorcycle.
And not surprised at all to see this $130,000 is bid. Unbelievable motorcycle, and it just sold for $130,000. Back on the block now here in Houston with a 1973 Camaro.
Oh, this has had the full Monty Supercharged LS9 6.2 liter V8 engine, which means you're talking about 600 horsepower. 4L60E automatic transmission, 4-link rear suspension, strange engineering components back there to take all that power, and Willwood power 4-wheel disc brakes to stop this car when you have to. Dakota digital gauges, vintage air. My, oh my, what a build. And of course that aluminum radiator, keeping it cool. And it is on the way to that gentleman right there.
Okay, let's move on to the Ferrari 308 GTS here, 1979. I would call this the Thomas Magnum car. However, however, this one has black interior. His was the saddle interior.
Yep. And this was the Ferrari that boosted Maranello into the mass production category. They built a lot of this series of Ferrari, the 308s. Mid-mounted aluminum, 2.9-liter double overhead cam V8 with carburation, not an injected car, gated 5-speed manual. And 1979 was the last year that Ferrari offered a car with carburetors, and the carburetors many times Weber's, the twin choke downdraft carburetors.
And in this case, the bid goes on. It's, oh, wait a minute. I think they just invoked the Mecum rule, and that gentleman bought it for 80 grand. Well done.
Yes, sir.
1970 Chevelle Super Sport right behind it.
That's a 572 crate motor, pushing over 600 horsepower. You couldn't go to a lot of drag strips with a manual transmission without an explosion-proof bell housing or a scatter shield, because if the clutch decided to kill itself, you'd be next.
Okay, next up is a 1970 Chevelle. It's a convertible, not the LS6, but this is the little brother.
Yeah, this would be the
LS5.
Right, 360 horse, 454. 4-speed, power operated top. A lot of originality on this car. Cowl induction hood, 12-bolt positive traction rear end, factory SS wheels. Fresh restoration, too. You can probably still smell the fresh paint on that car.
97. Internet, give 100. 97, baby. Anybody got 100,000? Anybody get 97?
That's
100?
Megan with the internet on the lower
97,
left, patiently
98,
waiting to see if they come
internet,
back.
97, baby. Anybody get 98,000? Anybody get 97, 98?
Well, nobody can tell me that a 4-speed in a big block 70 Chevelle does not help to boost the bidding. Now, there are those that say, well, automatic 4-speed doesn't matter. I say the 4-speed definitely gives it a little extra octane.
Yep. And look at this, the stately, luxury, regal nature of the 1948 Lincoln Continental.
Scott, you're not going to believe this car. I'm still trying to come to grips with it. We've seen these any number of times, completely restored back to original, some of them with a 12-cylinder engine. This is a custom. It's got a 300-horse 4-cam fuel-injected V8. It's got a Lincoln Mark 8 chassis from 1997 in it. It's got the original Lincoln Continental body. And this, at one time, was owned by Ronald Lauder, Estee Lauder Cosmetics.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
What a history.
That's a fooler.
And custom everything throughout this car. I can't even get into it with you.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. All right, bring me back to earth, Bill, with a 70 GTO.
I will. 1970. General Motors says, all right, everyone, no more restriction on cubic inches. Up until then, the last 7 or 8 years, you couldn't put anything bigger than 400 cubes in a downsized GM car. And then in 1970, the inmates started to run the asylum. This GTO has the big 455 cubic inch V8, one of only 158 GTO convertibles with that 455 and a 4-speed. I'd say that is the most primo GTO that we have seen here this weekend.
You would not be wrong, brother.
Wow. Best of the best.
112 pounds at 5.
And it gavels for $112,500. Here's one in silver with the black rally stripes. Cortez silver, to be specific.
Of course, Mark Donohue, of course, who was the driver for it, Roger Penske, won a championship, but did not win the Drivers' Championship because that came in later. The Drivers' Championship didn't come in, I think, until 1972, and he had won the championship previously to that. So the team won the title, but he unfortunately didn't, which is a shame because he was a brilliant driver and engineer. I mean, you name it, he could do it.
$100,000 and the reserve is off, and it sells on this Cortez Silver Z28. Mecum Full Throttle from Houston, Texas will continue in just a moment. Welcome back to Mecum Houston from the NRG Center. Here's a 69 Corvette convertible next.
Comprehensive restoration, matching numbers 427. This is the L36, the 390 horsepower, 427.
Did you see how clean that engine was?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like they put it together with wearing white gloves.
Yeah, I'm guessing that this has been driven very little since the restoration. AM, FM radio. Yep.
I was just going to say 77,000, and that's where it sells. Here's a Z06 now from 2015. Dial it back a few years.
Yeah, we're still in the C7 generation. We still have 650 horsepower. Odometer on this one, a little over 18,600 miles. But hey, 7-speed manual. All righty then. It's got the Brembo brakes, the Z07 suspension. That was a very popular upgrade.
Yeah, those original options on the Corvette were what? The radio and the wipers? Were those the two options available on the 53 Corvette?
God, I would hope
and
the wipers would be
all
standard.
of them had the radio.
It was
quote unquote an option, but they all came with it, those first 300.
Well, it was the radio and the heater, actually.
The heater, that's what it was, yeah, not the wiper. Well, we see the 7-speed manual transmission on this 2015 Z06 Coupe is the one that's really raising that price up.
Yes,
79
indeed.
grand.
Chris, I'm glad you're here for the Corvettes. Also glad you're sticking around for this Roadrunner, man.
Here comes some good old-fashioned Mopar muscle from 1969.
Yeah, this is a Roadrunner, and this one has had a little bit of, shall we say, a gingerbread added to it. Holly Sniper, electronic fuel injection on the matching numbers 383, which was originally rated at 335 horsepower.
All right, guys, I spy an 8-track.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's in there.
I'm going to swing around to see what we got in there, because we do have a cassette, and it is the Fifth Dimension.
Oh.
Wow.
Hey, they're a Chicago group there,
Yeah,
Chris Jacobs.
Very cool to see that.
$7,000 Ryan Brewer.
1967 Camaro RSSS. Not quite the way it left the factory.
No, this is a full tilt street machine all the way. 485 horsepower LS1 Tremec TKO 6-speed manual. Underneath, all the cool stuff that we can't see. Tubular A-arms, adjustable coilover shocks, rack and pinion steering. Got the Detroit Speed rear leaf springs, sway bars. And that 5.7 liter has hooker headers, 3-inch exhaust outlets. The color is from PPG, that beautiful clear coat, base coat, red, and the black rally stripes. Lots of bling in the wheel department there. Billet Specialties. Bada boom, $80,000.
All right, up next for us, 1958 Corvette. This is a Top Flight winner.
Yeah, and deservedly so. NCRS Top Flight, that tells you that this is very original, very well presented, and the restoration on this, only one word to describe it, is meticulous. Frame off, nut and bolt, rotisserie, don't script on anything kind of restoration, and it will sell.
You know, you may have been thinking, I am not kidding, because we talk about food a lot. You know, you may have been thinking banana cream pie on that.
Right.
You know?
It resembles a piece of banana cream pie.
That's the most expensive piece of pie you'll ever find.
Yeah,
100 grand. I got to tell you, this color combination, the first time I saw it, man, it just knocked me out. And then there's the engine room, too, which is...
Yeah, it's all about that paint, though, that midnight blue. Ooh, does that work? So does the interior as well. You get a good look at it there. And the power, we just saw the engine. It's an LS3. That's banking about, I'm going to say 450 horsepower, maybe. Billet Specialties Serpentine belt with a 4L60E automatic transmission. Pretty much covers the running gear.
Raise your bid to 85.
Hey, Jim, you're going to get to 82.
Oh. Wow. Raised his bid. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. He raised his bid. Yeah, okay, not that much applause. Now, I want the rest of you to boo when I tell you what he raised it to. He raised his bid to 82.
Wow.
Now,
Applause followed by booing.
I would
Man,
sell it.
democracy in action.
The reserve is off, 82,
Oh, good.
83, 82 bid, 83. Sold, $82,000.
I'm telling you what.
Next bracket. S149.
Put it on his number, so he gets paid for
Chevrolet
it.
K10 custom.
I know somebody just paid $82,000 for it, but that car is so nice. That is a great deal. Hey, how about this? You like green? You like your Pantera? Di Tommaso Pantera, 1972.
Right. We built a couple of thousand of these back in 72. Rebuilt 351 Cleveland. And some new parts and pieces in that engine, including the pistons, the crane, hydraulic roller cam, aluminum intake manifold. There you see some of the documentation in the rear compartment. It's got the original and correct wheels on there, the 5-speed manual transaxle. Ooh, that's got a stiff gear in it. 422 limited slip gears. Yeah. Whoopee.
Nikes.
Ooh, we can get 4 gears of rubber out of that.
Sell it? Yeah. Bingo!
Okay, he's ready.
Reserve's off.
Reserve comes off at 80.
Di Tommaso Pantera was sold at Lincoln Mercury dealers back in the day.
Nice job, man.
We moved to 1967 Corvette. This has got an interesting little power plant, Bill. I don't know. I'm trying to remember how often we've seen this.
Right, yeah, and you're referring to the 383 in there, that stroker V8, that stroked engine. Yeah, not something we see in mid-year Corvettes very often. Turbo hydromatic 350 and a C4 front suspension. So, you know, kind of a grab bag of parts and pieces on this build. Shark Bite, that's the name of the company that provided the rear suspension on this. See the silver with black Stinger hood.
Yeah, look at that matte black Stinger, too.
Yes.
That is interesting, and it brought decent money at $120.
Yep.
And 69 Camaro is up next.
Now serving S169. I know, sometimes I feel like I'm at the DMV.
That is the lot number, and it is kind of poetic that it's a 69 Camaro.
Yes, and look at that. That is an LT4 supercharged engine in there. You never would guess if that hood was closed. Torque thrust wheels, you get a close-up look at those. 10-speed automatic transmission hooked up to that LT4. Comprehensive custom build. And again, a little bit outside of the box with that choice of power plant.
Yep.
Sky's the limit.
At the other end of the spectrum, it could have a 6-cylinder in there. It could.
Don't be a buzzkill, please.
We've seen it before, man, and we all shake our heads. How rare those birds are.
Oh, yeah.
78, now 80. 78 pound out of bed, 80 bed, 80 pound down, negative 80 pounds. 78 pounds, negative 80 pounds, and out of bed, down, 80. Forget. So 78 pound out of sold.
All right, that's pretty reasonable there. $78,000. Here's a custom Camaro treatment on a 73 Camaro.
Yeah, this has got a built 427 LSX in it with a 4L60E 4-speed automatic with overdrive. And a lot of the parts that we expect to see on some of these contemporary builds, the Willwood Power 4-wheel disc brakes, drilled and slotted rotors, vintage air, MagnaFlow stainless dual exhaust. Suspensions had some work done to it too. The tubular A-arms from Global West, Hotchkiss tie rods, heavy-duty sway bar, the QA1 shocks, and welded-in subframe connectors. Yeah, there's as much work that went on underneath that Camaro as up top. Gray metallic paint, interior is in gray leather with suede inserts.
Yeah, that is a great look with the modern Z28 badges on those front fenders, the color-matched bumper. And hey, if you're going to upgrade a Camaro, anything 72 and later is a great candidate for it.
Yes. Yeah, because you couldn't leave it up to the factory during those years. It was all up to you to go nutty on the powertrain and the build.
$120,000 buys that Camaro. Back with more from Houston and the NRG Center in just a moment. Welcome back to Houston. We're at the NRG Center today, and that's kind of the look that you get when you first walk into this building. And And be prepared to be surrounded by amazing vehicles as you walk down that red carpet and head toward the block, Bill Stevens. And we're enjoying every minute of it. Hope you guys are at home too. Here's a 61 Corvette convertible that you can see that more modern Corvette engine peeking out from under the hood there.
Oh yeah. How about a 400 horsepower 6.2 LS2? No low balling anything on this. Custom AM/FM CD Bluetooth audio. Coil-over suspension, getting back to the chassis. Four-wheel independent suspension. Powder coated to match the outside paint. Good Lord. Did we sell it? We did.
We did indeed. 117.5. There's the sticker going in the window. Speaking of Corvettes, here's one from '69, a convertible. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Color combination set up, very nicely presented.
Sure is. Le Mans Blue. Yo. But we've had an engine swap, a 430 horsepower LS3, which you could get in a C6 Corvette, by the way, so they just retrofitted it back into the 1969. Tremec 6-speed, Ride-Tech coil-over suspension, and Willwood disc brakes, and vintage air. Boy, those are not OEM rally wheels either. Those are a little bit bigger than what the original wheels would have been.
125, sir.
Might be 16
How about
inches.
125? You get the 122.
125.
Ho!
122.
Ho!
125. 125. Hey, reserves up. 125.
125. You're in right now. Okay?
How about that? A C3 with a non-original powertrain and some other upgrades as well, selling for $122,500.
Wowzers.
A tribute to the build, clearly.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what's in store next for a custom-built '68 Camaro.
Wow, where is this one going to bid? This is showtime all the way. Yikes. 525 horsepower LS3. This is the crate engine LS3. We had the OEM LS3 in this previous Corvette we just saw with 430 horse. So now we're moving the chest pieces around a little bit on this one. Silver Sport Tremec TKX 5-speed manual with a hydraulic clutch. Rack and pinion steering conversion, Ride-Tech. We see those pieces a lot.
Yes.
That's that strong arm front control arm setup, Hotchkiss rear sway bar. But talk about the paint.
Ooh.
Don't fall into that paint job, Chris Jacobs. Don't get too close, man.
I was talking to the consignor of this car on the staging lanes, and we were talking in particular about the paint. And the touch that I love are those stripes that are just on the fenders. They don't run across the hood. So just very, very subtle and very, very well done. Very deep into that paint. Love the color. And I love the way they're popping on screen right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Those are definitely reminiscent of Corvette Grand Sport hash marks.
Yes. Yeah, especially the 96. We remember those.
Yep.
I've got 91,000 bid.
Okay. What does that get me?
I'll work with you and try to help you sell your car.
Well, if I
I'll give you a check for 87,000. We're cutting our commission way down.
Yeah.
I'll give you a check for 87. You want to do that?
At 87, yeah.
87 will be your check.
All right.
Reserves up.
Okay, they got it done.
$92,000. Jim, yes, no, I gotta go. I got 91,000, Nick, 92. Final call, 91, 92,000. So, $91,000, Nick Sprackland.
Well, Trev Morbeck hammers it, $91,000. So that's the answer to the question.
Yeah.
Okay, here is that stretched out Scout. Man, this is super trick how they got this done, man.
Yeah, and it took two to do it, and they essentially just cut the front end off of one and the back end off the other and welded them together. It's definitely a cool look. This is very unusual. Never seen a stretch Scout before. And the way it's done just kind of works at how Spartan it is and the great, great paint job.
Yeah, you know, it's done so well, you could be fooled into thinking that the factory built it, which of course they didn't, but, and let's see, how much do we think this is worth? I don't think we're going to find many comps on this.
Correct. Well, the bid is at $75,000 right now.
The reserve's off.
And right there is where they made the cut. The camera's kind of zooming in on it too.
Yeah.
But that column right there. They split that right in half, and that's where they married the two bodies together.
And if you use your imagination, you can picture how that goes together.
85.
Yep.
Tell you what, it's definitely in the dare to be different category.
Oh, sure. Yeah, whoever buys this should buy that four-door Coupe that we had.
Yes, if you're looking at that, what's that middle pillar there was essentially where the firewall would be on a regular lengthened Scout.
You could have the one of none collection.
Yeah.
Here's a selection of things that nobody built.
Good start.
Here's another 23 SRT Demon 170.
36 miles on this one, Scott.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. With an engine that churns out over 1,000 horsepower, and they'll sell one to anybody. Don't you think that they ought to vet someone, maybe do a little psychological screening or background check?
You'd be first in line.
Oh, boy.
No, but you're right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
120.
All right, well, here we go. The reserve's off at $120.
For 122,500. Solar, $120,000 Megan.
Okay.
214 of 2023.
Now to another one of those last call editions from 2023, one of the Challenger Black Ghosts.
Yeah, from the last of the last calls, which was the D170, to I believe the third iteration of the last call, which is the Black Ghost, of course, the tribute to the original Black Ghost, that 1970 Challenger RTSE that we had go across the auction block right here at Mecum in Indy, I think 3 years ago now.
105,
Come on, Kyle.
I know.
Come on,
What an exciting moment that was when the original Black Ghost
we're good. Okay.
hammered for sale at Mecum Indy, which is coming up again next month, of course. And I just have a special place in my heart, not only for the original Black Ghost, but these tribute Black Ghosts too, as you mentioned, Bill. The rarest of the last calls. They made 300 of these. They made 300 of the King Daytonas also.
Yes.
So those are the two rare versions of the last calls.
Well, that one sold for $105,000 to the new owner with his young son in tow. And we'll now move forward to a 2020 Corvette Convertible 3LT trim package in the first year of the new C8.
Well, let's get back to sensible Corvettes now, shall we? Yep, Sebring orange, natural interior, 495 horsepower, 6.2 V8, 8-speed dual clutch automatic. This one, plenty of things to play with in here. Magnetic ride control, all-speed traction control, the mode select. The driver selects the mode of travel, the valet mode, retractable hardtop, head-up display, has that HD front curb camera, so you don't ding the nose on one of those aggravating curbs in the parking lot.
Whoever ordered this car really loves that Sebring orange too, because the shark teeth are done in that same finish.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
Yep. Yes, indeed. $82,000 is the hammer price. Good enough on that 2020 Corvette. Let's see what we end up doing on the 68 Camaro Super Sport, which we've already taken a look at. There you see the turquoise stripe around the nose.
Yes, sir. LS3 packing a Whipple supercharger, Lingenfelter cam with a T56 6-speed manual transmission and a Detroit Speed narrowed 9-inch rear end. That is a bulletproof drivetrain for sure.
Yeah, big wheels, and they certainly work. Staggered setup, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice wide tires in the rear. That's needs that Detroit mini tub.
Gonna sell it too.
So, $102,500.
Okay, and with that, a $102,500 hammer on a Camaro. Next on the block is another of the 2023 Challenger Black Ghost Last Call editions.
Yes, now I am going to defer to my colleague Chris Jacobs. Help me out, I'm blanking here. Was a manual transmission available in these cars?
Not on these, no. That was not an option, which is a little bit of a shame because obviously the original Black Ghost was a 4-speed.
That's my point, yeah.
I think that Dodge should have made the exception and offered a manual in this car. That would have, man, you can add another 20 to the price if they did that, just as far as the aftermarket goes.
You could get a manual in a Hellcat.
Correct, in earlier years.
But no, just the 8-speed automatic in these cars.
All right, hey, we got to be 105. Do you want to be 105?
105. Did he bid 105?
He said no. He said 104.
It's 102.5 is the bid. 102.5.
Okay, yeah.
105. 102.
The guy tried cutting you for 105.
You won't do
107.5. 107.5. 110.
Well, I can tell you this, yesterday I spoke to the consignor of this vehicle who is selling it on behalf of his brother, who unfortunately passed away, but he had the car for a couple years. He bought it from the factory and then left it to his brother, who is now selling it on behalf of his brother's kids, who are going to get the proceeds from the sale.
Oh, so that's one family owned.
Yes.
All right, going to a new owner here from Mecum in Houston. Back with more coming up after the break on ESPN+. Welcome back to Mecum Full Throttle, coming to you today from Houston, Texas. This is going to kick off a little bit of a group of some big money potential cars. It is, I don't even need to tell you that these are so desirable and valuable right now. The 2019 ZR1, this one with the 3ZR package.
Color, power, it's all right here. 6.2 liter supercharged LT5, 8-speed automatic. About 10,600 miles on it. The 3ZR Premium Equipment Group. The carbon flash wheels people love. Carbon ceramic brakes. Magnetic ride control.
Reserve's off.
Reserve is definitely off. And we've got a new #1 car in the clubhouse. Just a matter of for how long and what number.
755 horsepower. And this does not have the 7-speed manual. This was the last year. You get a manual transmission in a Corvette. It was in 2020 the C8 debuted, and people that wanted that conventional 3-pedal manual transmission had to settle for something prior to the 2020 car.
First look at a Viper, and this is from 2014, a Viper GTS, as the years start to wind down for the legendary Viper.
Yeah, we're getting into that final generation. 2017 was the last year that Dodge was producing the Viper. This one with the 640 horsepower, 8.4 liter V10. That was the highest factory horsepower rating getting the Viper. They all had 6-speed manual transmissions. This one, 355 gears with limited slip. Race yellow is what they call the color. Black GTS racing stripes. Laguna interior package, aerodynamics package with carbon fiber splitters and rear spoiler.
You think the Viper community kind of said, yeah, that whole raw bare bones thing was cool for a while, but let's put some fluff in these cars a little bit.
You didn't complain when you floored the throttle, I'll tell you that.
Nope. Let's see what happens with this Chevelle Super Sport from 1967.
1967, that 1-year only body style. And it's got that light frost green metallic paint. Underneath the hood, that looks like a big block to me.
Boy, that final top looks like it was applied yesterday.
Yeah.
That is so good. And the red line tires, my goodness, the reserve's off. We're at 140.
Exactly. So hang on.
Not an L78, not a 4-speed, but the bidders don't care.
On to a 1986 Ferrari Testarossa.
Got that 4.9-liter flat 12, 5-speed manual with that gated shifter. That red outside, the Rosso, tan leather inside. And this one not too far outside the boundaries of a lot of them that we see, Scott.
Well, the reserve has just come off here at $110,000.
112.
Yeah, we can go back to when we first started doing the Mecum auctions. These cars, maybe trading for half that.
Right.
That market was almost depressed.
Not here and not today. 110,000 just bought it. And we go from the Testarossa to a CSX 4000 series Cobra Roadster, 1965 Shelby Cobra.
Oh, I may start weeping. I had a CSX 4000 Cobra, CSX 4252. This is CSX 4923. It's got a Roush twin supercharged 427 with dual Vortex superchargers rated at 571 rear wheel horsepower. And the dyno sheet is included. 5-speed manual transmission. And very authentic. These CSX 4000 cars, unless somebody goes really wacko on them, they do vibe the original 427 Cobras in almost every department in terms of body dimension, equipment, the correct hood, riveted hood and hood scoop, 3-point roll bar, correct design side exhaust, pin drive wheels, and we're at $145,000.
Did you mention square taillights?
Yeah, the CSX cars do have those correct taillights.
Yep. All right, 145. 1970 K10 pickup truck. Following that up.
No expense spared. 2,000-hour nut and bolt build, and driven only 390 miles since they finished it up. 6-liter, 425 horsepower LS engine with a 4L60E 4-speed automatic with overdrive. Oh, so many changes and modifications and upgrades. Never get to all of them. Independent front suspension, 4-link rear suspension.
$160,000 bid, 165.
They powder coated the chassis after they smoothed it out.
$160,000.
Look at that, Scott.
Wow.
$160,000.
There's a big hitter Shelby right behind it.
Yeah, and I really like the fact that they upgraded the engine. It originally came with that Police Interceptor engine. They put the 428 Cobra Jet engine in this, which would have come along in 1968 in the KR GT500. Heavy-duty suspension, power steering and brakes, and that lime gold with the white Le Mans stripes. This has the outboard fog lamps. I don't know if you got to look at those, but that means this was a later car in production. The very early cars, those high beams were right next to each other in the opening there, in the grill opening, and the government said, well, you know, could you do us a favor and kind of move them out a little bit? They're too close together, so the later cars, that's what happened.
Oh, wow. Well done. Nice choice, partner. And $220,000 buys that GT500. There's another Corvette in this group that is in that 1,000 horsepower class, and here it is. It's a 24 Yenko Stage 1 Corvette convertible with only 30 miles on the odometer.
Yeah, this is number 6 of only 10 that were built a couple of years ago. So this is a boutique car, not a factory car.
Right.
Custom built, LT2 based engine, aluminum block, forged internals, 1,000 horsepower, 900 pound-feet of torque, and lots of upgrades to handle all of that horsepower. Twin Garrett 58 millimeter ceramic ball bearing, water-cooled turbos. Those are state-of-the-art with water-cooled wastegates. So much engineering went into this build. The old days, it was all about cams, cylinder heads, compression, things like that. Today, horsepower, a lot of times is a function of computers and, you know, the electronics that go into the engine that control the fuel flow and the ignition and things like that. It's a whole new world.
We have a 69 Rally Sport Super Sport Camaro, $130,000, still active bidding.
Yo. Yep, 396. This is the 350 horsepower version of that big block rotisserie restoration M21 close ratio 4-speed with a Hurst shifter, the 12-bolt rear end with positive traction.
You're going to take a check home for 120. At 139, you take a check home for 125.
Will you do 5% instead of 10 on my side?
Sure. Reserves off.
Okay. That deal works out.
Yeah. You've got to be a PhD in mathematics sometimes to follow what's going on out there.
130,000 the reserves off.
Sold 130, sold $130,000 Megan's way. Here's Trev.
Well, in the meantime, we'll go ahead and check out the next car on the block. And it happens to be a 1966 Pontiac GTO. And what was that you mentioned earlier, Bill, about things that protrude from the hood of said car?
Any car that has something sticking up out of the hood is the kind of a car that I want. Holy moly. 850 horsepower, supercharged, 540 engine, V8 here by Big Al's Toy Box. Yikes. And a custom chassis from Dooley & Sons of Magnolia, Texas. TKO 5-speed manual transmission that can handle 850 horsepower. Mercedes-Benz black, red leather interior, but I'll tell you, it's this engine transmission combination that is just from another galaxy.
Yeah, I like the way they left all the original badging on the car, too. They didn't get tempted to take any of that off. Yeah.
Oh, show car indeed, and 130,000 will be sufficient to take that home.
Oh, with a blower sticking out of the hood. I'm ready, God. Take me home. Wow.
When this car was announced to the automotive world, it put it collectively on its ear, Bill. It's a 2026 ZR1 Corvette with 1,064 horsepower. Our first chance to see one of these on the Mecum auction block. Wow.
Yes, a world-class sports car in anybody's estimation. But what's really kooky is that the ZR1X has 1,250 horsepower, but that's another story for another time. Let's deal with this one. 9 miles on the odometer. And, of course, that engine, what a work of art that is. Hats off to the GM engineers. Twin turbo, 5.5-liter V8 with that 1,064 horsepower.
Still active bidding, $265,000.
Well, if they make another Batman movie, we know what they're going to use to make the Batmobile.
Darth Vader and Batman are going to be fighting over this car. You know, that wing is so massive, but it works. We're getting the rear view of it from our perspective here, and it doesn't look overly large, even though it is huge. You know, this car needs that downforce from that wing. But it fits the design and the style of this car.
Oh, my goodness, folks. The reserve is off at $300,000. Boy, it went from 265 to 300 in about an eighth of a second, it seemed.
Yep.
Sold 300 pounds. It's sold.
Wow. And as you mentioned, Scott, that is above what the MSRP would be that appears right on the automobile.
Exactly right. Let us focus our attention on this 2011 Ferrari 599 GTO. Only 3 times has Ferrari used that GTO nameplate, Bill, and they've all been significant.
Well, yeah, the most important thing about bringing the GTO nomenclature to a Ferrari is that it has to have the performance that gives the car the, let's say, the privilege of owning those 3 letters, and these definitely do. the 6-liter V12 with 661 horsepower.
I got $1 million, ladies and gentlemen. The reserve is off. Ryan, I took this gentleman here. I tell you what to do.
We are in.
$1,050,000. Mark, $1,050,000. Hold up, guys. I already got $1 million over here. I'm asking $1,050,000. $1,050,000. Yes or no? $1,050,000.
Sell it to us.
$1 million bid. $1,050,000. Anybody else at $1,050,000?
And what were you saying about that Shelby being the top seller for
We're at $1 million
a short time?
Well, that lasted a little longer than the Corvette before. And listen to the crowd erupt.
Thank you. You got it, dude.
And even $1 million just bought that 2011
That's right.
599 GTO. That will do it for this edition of Mecum Full Throttle. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Scott Hoke, and so long from Houston.